microgrid storage, the capacity. I welcome Professor Prakash Ghosh to the session. I Let me also take this opportunity to inform you people that I have been the doctoral student of Professor Prakash Ghosh, and I worked in his laboratory while working on unitized regenerative fuel cells, and it is such an honor to share this platform with him. So with that quick introduction, I welcome Professor Prakash Ghosh. Hello, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Amit. Can you hear me?
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, Amit, we have to forget now you are my colleague. Okay, that's the important thing. Okay, and we dream to write a proposal together rather than writing a thesis report. Okay.
That's true, sir. But well, it's a little difficult for me to forget that very soon. I think it will take me a while. Yes.
No problem. Okay. So uh, this session is around how long? It's a 1.5 hour, right? Up to
Yes, sir.
1 o'clock.
1.5 hours. Still 1 o'clock. That's correct, sir.
Okay, fine. So how do I come? Okay, so I can now present, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you can present.
Nowadays we use lots of software and you forget that which one is where. Okay, so now I
That's
get.
true.
So I was not finding that how do I actually upload. Okay, all right. Okay, so you have total. Actually, I was also present in your earlier presentation so that we have some synchronized way of presenting. So
Okay.
so that there is no repetition. Okay, so
Right.
welcome to the this particular course, and I'd like to thank you also, Amit, for inviting me for this particular presentation. So I'll be just giving a brief introduction to the thermodynamics, that is for fuel cell. Uh, and I'm not using any slide now. I'll be using probably an whiteboard, and I'll be directly writing there. And I hope, Amit, you are recording this. Probably you have to start recording probably.
Yes, sir. The things will be recorded. Yes.
Because it's when I'm seeing at my end, it's not showing recording. It's showing something, but no time is there. So that's what I was thinking. You have not started recording. Please record it because I don't have any slide to share.
Yes, sir. It's already been recorded since it's the inaugural session itself. So it is
Okay,
a
good.
continuous recording. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Uh, because why I'm cautioning you this one, because at my end I am seeing the recording button, but I am not seeing the time. So I was worried that
That's
generally
true. Yeah.
okay, all right, okay, fine. So yeah, welcome to all of you. So you can stop. I don't know whether they can. All of them are forcefully muted or how is it, Amit?
Sir, they can mute themselves and they can mute and as well as unmute
We can
themselves.
unmute. We can unmute
Yeah.
and speak. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so anytime if you have any problem, please unmute because I don't have slides, so you cannot go and refer a particular point. Okay. Uh, my
Yes,
screen is
it's
visible, Amit?
yes, sir. It's very much visible.
Yes, it
Okay.
is visible.
Okay. Thank you very much. So let me start with my this particular talk with a small note, which will be also coming from the previous when Amit was discussing about the cost. I also worked a little bit on the cost side, so I thought, and Amit was talking about the cost and how discussing about fuel cell, one important thing comes that is it cost effective or it's not cost effective? And then in that course of discussion, always we talk that platinum is the main culprit. And recently I started talking is that platinum is not main culprit, because platinum can also promote the business. And that business is that because what happened, if you take that in Indian context, mostly I feel that all the participants are from India. So, in Indian context, we have a bad habit of investing money and storing money for future. And we love to store money, like we love to store energy in terms of electricity, in terms of electrochemical energy in battery. And when it comes to the money, then always we prefer some precious metal like gold or platinum. And so also we talk about fuel cell, and we tell that in fuel cell we use platinum, and platinum is very expensive. But also you should keep it in mind that when we have some excess money, we try to actually put the money in platinum. And we know that after 4 years or 5 years, if I am buying a 10 gram gold coin, I get that 10 gram back completely, and then I have some return out of it, which is not possible if I'm doing in other method. So if we take similar way platinum. Now, second thing is that right? If you are putting a coin in your locker, if you put 10 gram, you get 10 gram exactly after 5 years. Does it happen in case of fuel cell? And people have found, because platinum, what is being used, it is being used as a catalyst. And as it is being used as a catalyst, so it is available up to 93% of your investment. And they have done complete calculations, like the entire catalyst is being attached in a membrane, which is a Nafion, which also Amit was telling. So now this Nafion membrane can be easily dissolved in acid. Platinum can be also easily dissolved in acid. So platinum you can easily dissolve in acid, and you can make, let's say, hydrochloric acid, you can make chloroplatinic acid. And that chloroplatinic acid, from there again you can get back your platinum. So that's how people have found, even in Johnson method, they have done complete calculation, and they have found that if you take all other things like your investment cost for recovering manpower and everything, and ultimately you'll be getting total 82 to 88% of your invested platinum. If you go in terms of platinum materials, you'll be getting in terms of 93 to 95% of the platinum back, because platinum will not go out from the system. But if you want to recover them and keeping the recovery cost, you'll be getting in the range of, have a complete calculation. And if you do the cost analysis of entire system like this, instead of 10 gram, you have 8 gram. And then at the end, if you try to find out that how much inflation in the market, how much inflation in the cost and all these things, you'll be finding that you'll be getting lots of return out of it. And probably if this type of business model is available in the country, it might be possible that platinum high cost might be also boosting the business. Only you need somebody who comes with a sack of money and then say, okay, I'm investing my money for platinum, and you buy the car and platinum is mine and I'll be doing business on that. Okay, so in that point, no, people have tried already and it is possible. Okay, so with this point from that last discussion, and then when you are talking about fuel cell, we cannot go away with this particular terminology cost platinum, and then this particular terminology platinum and this thing we are going to discuss in the afternoon lecture, when we'll be talking about the electrochemistry and electrokinetics. Now we are talking about only the thermodynamics. So in the thermodynamics, when you talk about, we'll be talking first the power. So when we are talking about
The screen is not visible.
something I'm writing, is it visible now?
No, visible.
Visible, sir.
It's visible.
No, sir.
It's visible, sir. Please go ahead.
I am using a whiteboard screen. On that I have written fuel cell. I hope it might be visible.
It is visible, sir.
It's visible, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So if you talk, we'll start with fuel cell. I think Amit, somebody is waiting probably at the lobby or something, because I'm getting some noise. So if you
Yes,
talk
sir, people
about,
will actually come in and keep coming and joining. So we have volunteers who will take care of getting people inside the session room.
Good.
So that
No
has
problem.
already been taken care of. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now, if you talk about the power, now power is equal to voltage into current if you go for an electrical device. Now, this is one component, this is another component, and what we are going to discuss in thermodynamics that deals with, so this deals with this voltage, and this I is actually, we'll be dealing with this when we are talking about the electrochemistry and electrode kinetics. So this is, we'll be talking about, so these are the two terms what I'm going to discuss in my lecture. So first thing is the voltage. So when you are talking about voltage, already you have seen that voltage is related to the materials that you are using. So now material, we will be talking about fuel. Gas. So this is one side you are giving one gas, let's say hydrogen. Other side you are giving oxygen, let's say. So this particular thing, so when you are talking about a voltage, this is the particular gas what you are going to use that takes place in the electrochemistry, and that deals with the voltage. So if you go for this reaction, you have seen that this reaction is written as hydrogen plus half oxygen is giving you water. This is for fuel cell. No, we're not talking electrolyzer. So now in this case, you are using hydrogen, you are using oxygen, and you are getting water. So this particular reaction dictates the voltage. What is the voltage you are going to get? So voltage depends on the reaction, and then we'll discuss exactly how the voltage is being determined for this reaction. So this particular thing you can write separately, that hydrogen we can write as H plus electron, and oxygen we can write half oxygen we can write, and then we can write 2H plus 2 electron and giving you H2O. And if you do this, then this gets cancelled out, and then get H2 plus half O2 is H2O. I wanted to tell you, as I'm in the different screen, I'm not using my other window. So it will be difficult for me if you are raising your hands. Directly you can unmute and you can stop me at that point. So this is the reaction what we are going to consider, and this is the simplest reaction. There are other fuel cell reaction as Amit was talking, but it's a generalized method how we are going to process, and it will be same for all of them. So now you take this, and other thing also very important when you are talking about fuel cell, always we will start comparing this. What is this reaction? This is a combustion reaction, because you are taking a fuel, hydrogen, and you are using oxidant and you are getting water as a product. You can have other combustion reaction also. So, and let's and it is moving. So you get mechanical energy, you get heat energy, from heat energy you get mechanical energy, and then that's how you can have a conventional drivetrain, what we talk about. And if you go from that, if you are now we are discussing about fuel cell system. In case of fuel cell system, what will be happening? We'll be having same thing, hydrogen and oxygen we are using, but the difference between these two is that we have hydrogen, H2, we have oxygen, but now we are separating. You can see that in case of combustion, they mix with each other. In case of fuel cell, they will not be mixing, so they will be doing separately. Hydrogen is becoming H plus electron, and oxygen, then what is happening? H plus is going from this side to this side. Electron is going through external circuit, and oxygen is matching here, and then ultimately you are getting oxygen. That's what other reaction. So this is the main difference in case of combustion and fuel cell. In case of combustion, your oxidant and your fuel mix up together and then combustion takes place. In case of fuel cell, your combustion will not be taking place, and then your fuel and oxidant, they will be separated by a separator. We call it as an electrolyte or membrane. Sometimes membrane, sometimes it will not be membrane always. And then you try to get the same thing, but the electron is going through your external circuit. And the philosophy you see very nicely, when you are doing the reaction, hydrogen is anyway getting oxidized here also, and oxygen is getting reduced, and you are getting water in both the cases. But in this case, electron, you are not able to get it in external circuit, or you are not able to recover electron because the mixing happens in microscopic level or in the small scale. Whereas in this case, the electron what is being produced, you can trap it, and you are not allowing it to go to this side, so it is going through your external circuit, and that's how you get the energy of electron in terms of current. Here the energy available with electron, like you know that if you take a static charge, right, like cloud, and in case of cloud, the energy available with electron, if you could have used that electron, then you could have charged enormous amount, infinite amount of energy battery. But as you cannot do, what happened? You can get thunder, you will be getting bolt, like that lightning, and then because of that you will be getting light and heat. Similarly, you can see also in case of combustion, inside you will be getting some fire, you will be getting some light and heat is generated. If you can avoid that light and heat, then the same energy can be used, of the electron can be used for producing current, and that's what we try to do in case of taking the conventional system where IC engine is being replaced by fuel cell engine. So if you take that in mind, so now we are just trying to take the same system, but we are taking a different approach. And the current what we are talking about, as I told, that voltage will be depending now which reaction you are taking. Hydrogen plus half oxygen is going to be H2O. This reaction dictates the voltage. And current will be dictated by the area. Like when you are making a fuel cell, already you have seen it was showing. So that is the current. So that's what, when you are doing this reaction, the hydrogen and oxygen will be dictating the voltage, and the area under this will be dictating the current, as well as it will be also dictated by some other parameters. Afterwards I'll be telling, is that we'll be talking as a dictating the current, is that at operating voltage. So we will be having two different types of voltage. One voltage will be telling OCV, VOCV, this is open circuit voltage. Another one will be V operating is an operating voltage. It is something, what is that? Let's say you have a tank here and you have water and there is a pipe, and if this pipe level is like this, you'll never be getting any water flow through this pipe because the pipe height will be more than the water level. So this is what I'm talking about, VOC, open circuit voltage, where the original source you have the level. And then after that, what you do, instead of doing this, if you make like this, so then you have a next level here. So this is our operating voltage. So similarly, in case of water level, this is one height, this is another height. So because of that height difference, you'll be getting a water flow. Similarly, in case of fuel cell or any electrochemical device, if you have an open circuit voltage which is coming from your thermodynamics, it is coming from the thermodynamics, and this from this your operating potential should be less than that, so that earlier we are talking about water flow, in this case you are talking about electron flow. Because open circuit voltage, what you tell voltage, what is voltage? If you see the voltage, very interestingly, if you try to find out and what is the unit of voltage, you'll be finding voltage is energy per charge. This is voltage. What does it mean? It means it is charge, means we can tell electron, let's say how many electron you are passing. So this is a Q, let's say. Okay. So because energy is equal to Q into V, that's total, that's what we can do. And we can tell electron volt, right? Sometimes we define energy in terms of electron volt. Sometimes we tell joule, sometimes we tell erg. So you should always remember, when you are telling a voltage, then always you try to specify that the energy per unit charge is the voltage, and it's very important. Why? Let's say this is a surface. This is a surface, electrode surface you are talking about, and some energy electron is going, right? So now how much electron, sorry, is a E, that's the electron charge. Sometimes I'm writing E, sometimes Q, that's what. So let's say if it is going through this surface, and then from the energy, how will you be knowing how much? Then you voltage. So when you it's a kg per meter cube, what does it do? You do always some normalization with weight with respect to the volume. And what is voltage? Voltage is also similarly like that. It is a normalization on a surface, electrode surface, where reaction is happening and how much energy you are giving. Let's say if a reaction is happening, you can always tell how much energy in terms of enthalpy. We'll discuss this thing in some times. If you know the enthalpy, because you know the fuel you are giving, you know the energy, and that energy, fuel, hydrogen you are giving here, it is getting consumed here. As it is getting consumed, that means you know how much energy you are giving. As you know how much energy you are giving, from that it is very difficult to know how much electron is going here, because but if you know this electron, then you can actually calculate that how much total current is actually flowing through this. So this voltage actually helps in determining that one, because voltage is not talking about energy, it's not talking about electron, it is talking about a normalization of this electrode surface in terms of energy per charges. That's why voltage is a very interesting parameter, where you can get energy per charges. Okay, so that's what we are going to define voltage. So when you are taking a particular electrode reaction, hydrogen plus half O2 is becoming H2O. So for this, if you want to define the thermodynamic, we'll be having few parameters what you need to understand. First is that, and I'm assuming you know the basic thermodynamics. If you have any problem, you can tell me that one. One is that internal energy, U. And you will be having capital U or small u. This is small u, this is capital U. The second term we know is that enthalpy. Enthalpy. And we can write small h, capital H. Small h is always, we talk in terms of molar. So molar enthalpy, that's what we do is smaller. And then capital H is the total enthalpy. And when you are doing this, always in our discussion, it will be coming back, because that's a competition, as it was told that earlier, in discussion, that we are always competing with the existing technology like IC engine based technology. And with that, when you are competing, always that efficiency what will be coming in our mind is that theoretical efficiency of a thermodynamic cycle, ideal thermodynamic cycle. What is that ideal thermodynamic cycle? Carnot efficiency. So this will be coming back again and again, always to us when you are talking about the fuel cell efficiency. And always we need to compare with this efficiency, Carnot efficiency. So, and I'm not going in detail of that because I assume all of you know. We want to only discuss here what is called as the internal energy of a system. And so what is internal energy first of all? So if you talk about internal energy, let's say you are taking it, there is a table. On table, you have glass of water, let's say. And then what is the internal energy? If you tell in the macroscopic view, you'll be telling mgh. Right? And what is this h? Always will be taking as a reference from the sea level, and then you'll be telling this is the potential energy available with this at that height. Okay, so now, but if you take in mind and on the other side, there will be potential energy because of the let's say binding. So let's say potential energy means, let's say you have diatomic molecule where two molecules are being connected with each other, and there will be some forces acting on them, and that's the time we'll be telling this is a potential energy. So this potential energy is different from the other potential energy. So where you will be having earlier here potential energy, what you are seeing is the microscopic potential energy where it's due to gravity. When you will be talking about now the internal energy, then the potential energy is coming from different things. So in microscopic scale, you will be getting for the translational potential energy. So that U microscope epsilon microscopic, if you tell this is going to be E, sorry, epsilon, let's say translational, then plus vibrational, because we will be having also vibration happening. So these are the molecules. When their molecules are there, they will be vibrating. There will be different types of phenomena happening among the molecules. Vibration is happening. Then rotational will be happening. Now two atoms, they are like translational means, let's say there is an atom, they are binding is there and they are moving like this. So this is translational. They will be also having rotational, like they are rotating like this. They will be also having like this. Let's say you assume a spring and then two atoms, they are connected with a bonding and they are stretching sometimes and they are going out sometimes. So this type of things will be telling vibration. So it is going like this, like this, like this. Okay. So and so this is how we call it a vibrational. So this type of things gives us an internal energy. So this is will be calling as one potential energy and other one is kinetic energy. And kinetic energy mainly will be getting because of the translational. Now, what is the signature of kinetic energy? What is the signature of potential energy? Let's say, let us take an example. You have copper, Cu of 1 gram copper. And if let us take, you have ice, let's say water of 1 gram. And let us consider in terms of ice. So both of them are maintained at -5 degrees centigrade. So all of them, both are solid. What will happen? This is also solid, copper is also solid, water is also solid at that temperature because it's ice. So do you think that now if I need to give some energy, I will be giving some energy, let's say Q here, Q1, here I am giving Q2. Are they equal? They are not equal, right? But if I see here also, I have done delta T is equal to 1 degree centigrade. Here also delta T is equal to 1 degree centigrade. And if I do see that as that, and also temperature is same. If temperature is same, temperature is a signature of what? Kinetic energy or potential energy. It is a signature of kinetic energy because you know that because of the Brownian motion and all these things, you will be having an temperature. So temperature is a signature of that energy, translational energy. And other one, if you take, is that potential energy, which you will be getting from your specific heat. And that's what you'll be seeing that for copper, specific heat is different from the water or ice. So because of that, though your delta T is 1, in both the cases same, in one case you need different because Q1 is equal to M C1 delta T also is equal, and here M C2 delta T is also. So these C1 and C2 is different, so you are going to get different. So that's what. So now by this, what I wanted to tell you, anytime if you are adding and heat, there will be change in the internal energy, but that internal energy could be different. Like if ice is melting, then what happened? But you are adding heat. So let's say now you are at 0 degree centigrade and ice is melting. So in this case, temperature is not changing. It is remaining constant, but you are giving heat and there is a phase change. And this phase change, what it does, how the phase change happens? Phase change means now the atom, they were bonded with a particular energy. Now you are giving some energy to this bond and making it loose. So solid is becoming liquid. So now what you are doing, making a change, you are making a change in the potential energy of the internal energy, not kinetic energy at this case. So kinetic energy remains same, So when you are doing a phase change, your potential energy of the internal energy part is going to change. So this is what we will discuss about internal energy U. And next one it comes is that the enthalpy. So if you talk about enthalpy, H, and how they are related with the internal energy, then all of you know that H is equal to U plus PV. Okay, so and I told sometimes we'll be telling U or U. So you know that U is equal to U by N, where N is the total number of moles. That means this is the molar and molar internal energy, molar enthalpy. So like you can tell that I have total this much of energy, or you can tell like hydrogen. So we can tell 286 kilojoule per mole. This is the molar, or you can tell the total, but then in that case you need to know that how much mole of hydrogen is also present there. So always will be defining in terms of mole, you will not be defining in terms of always will be defining it looks like this. If you take internal energy and this side, if you try to add plus PV and this side minus TS, then you get 4 different place. So this one we call it as an enthalpy H, which is U plus PV. Is equal to U plus PV. This one is will be calling as Helmholtz energy F is equal to U minus TS. But for our present discussion, we will not be concerned about that much of this, but you need to know this is an Helmholtz F energy. And this is very important. We call it as G is equal to U plus PV minus TS. Okay, so this is very important. And what is Gibbs free energy? Now, if you see this, let's say you have an internal energy, and when you want to get some energy out of it, you have to make some changes in the system. And when you are making some changes in the system, let's say you are taking hydrogen plus half oxygen and making water. So this is a change in the system. This was gaseous, this was also gaseous, this was hydrogen, this was oxygen. So it looks like hydrogen, if you see, it will be looking like this bond. Oxygen will be having a different bond like this, and water will be like this. This is O and this is H. And so now you are altering this particular bond to a new bond. So you are using one hydrogen bond HH and one oxygen bond, or let's say half oxygen bond, and then you are making one H2O bond, two OH bond. So when you are changing this type of bond, so as you are altering the bond, so your bond length is going to change. As a result of that, you'll be getting some energy out. So what you are seeing here, if you are maintaining the temperature, so you are not changing the temperature, the energy that what is being released here is going to be because of the potential energy of your internal energy part. So that means now in this internal energy, because in internal energy what happened, you had all the bonding energy. Now this bond is being altered, so your potential energy has changed of new system. H2O is having different potential energy, so that excess potential energy is going to be released. So you'll be having a delta U. Now this delta U, what you have, the change in the potential energy will be calling as a change in the internal energy, but that one will be utilized now to do lots of things. Like if you are doing, let's say if you are going from, I'm taking an opposite reaction where H2O is going to H plus, H2 plus half O2. Let's say this is the example you take. If you take this example and I'm telling 1 gram of water. So how much is that? So 2 gram of, sorry, if you take 18 gram of water, because I want to tell 1 mole. 1 mole of water is 18 gram of water. And what is the volume of 18 gram of water is 18 cc, right? Because we know the density of water is 1 if you take 18 cc. And if you do this at, let's say at a particular temperature, so 25 degrees centigrade, let's say. Now, then you'll be finding, let's say, here hydrogen is being produced, half oxygen is produced. What is the volume of hydrogen now? Here it was 18 cc. Here you'll be getting 22.4 liter because this is 1 mole. 1 mole hydrogen is being produced. And oxygen, how much oxygen? 11.2 liter. So total how much? You are getting 33.6 liter. Now what you can see that initially you had only 18 cc and from that you are going to get 33.6 into 10 to the power 3 cc. Liter means 1000, right? So 1000 cc. So you can see that there is a change in volume in your system, right? So as there is a change in volume, so some you need, because if you are doing a change in volume means, if you think in our atmospheric condition, you have a pressure of P is equal to 1 bar. Now everything is happening at under 1 bar, so it's very important that you need an ambient condition. One is the pressure, another one is the temperature. Now at 1 bar, if entire thing is happening and there is a volume change, so you know that means, like let's say you are taking a balloon. So initially you have a small balloon like this. Now if you want to blow it and make it bigger, you have to do some work. Why you have to do some work? Because you have to work against that 1 atmospheric pressure and then blow it, and then you know how much work, so you know the total volume change. Let's say this is V1, this is V2. So V2 minus V1 is your volume change. From this volume change you can tell exactly that how much is that you are going to and then what is the pressure, you know how much work you have done. So that means this is your work done. When you are doing a system and creating such like hydrogen, oxygen, this internal energy what you are going to get, and from this internal energy there will be an PV term will be coming as well, because either you have to create the system or while the system will be also adding some energy to you, right? So this is how you get the PV. That's when I was writing earlier here, this particular thing, that why that PV is very important. Other one is the temperature and S, TDS, what we talk about sometimes. So temperature and entropy, as you are doing some disorder in the system. So this is something what if you take physically, the PV term is that inside when you are doing some work. Other one is that system what you are doing, let's say hydrogen, oxygen and giving water. Interact or environment, or it can gain, and overall there will be also change in the system environment energy, and that is being determined by TS, right? You know. So combining these two after you do, so if you do that, let's say U plus PV minus TS, and if you write a differential from DU plus PdV, assuming that you are doing at a constant pressure because at ambient condition, minus TDS, and also you are assuming that your temperature does not vary. So this one what you are seeing is that the net energy available to you for doing work after spending some energy or utilizing some energy from the system and also interacting with the environment. So this is the surroundings, this is with the inside the system. And after doing that, this is energy is known as Gibbs free energy, and this is very important. So we have two terms which is very important for us now, will not be considering that much du, because we are not interested in seeing that which bond is breaking another thing. Only we wanted to know that what is the source of this energy, and the source of his energy is the change in the bond, and change in the bond will be helping us giving this internal energy, will give the change in internal energy that will be available to us after spending some amount of energy for the doing the system on the work on the system, as well as doing some system or interacting with the environment or surroundings. And this is known as Gibbs free energy, and that is the energy. So Gibbs free energy is the energy available to us for doing work. Okay, but we should remember, when this is for electrochemical system when we are talking about. If you are going for the thermal system, then you will not be doing this TES term, then you will be only going for enthalpy. So then in that case enthalpy, because enthalpy is the total heat that is available to you. So if you want to use, so the main difference between now, why I'm emphasizing on this, because when you are talking about Gibbs free energy, this is mainly applicable for the system like fuel cell. When you are talking about enthalpy, this is applicable for IC engine. And there all the confusion starts coming into picture, because if you talk about IC engine, and there are efficiency term like Carnot efficiency, when you are going for this, when you are using in fuel cell, what will be the efficiency in case of fuel cell? Theoretical efficiency, like Carnot efficiency is theoretical efficiency. How are you going to do? Is that delta G by delta H? Or it will be delta H by delta H. It is very important to understand this. Sorry, delta G by, I'm extremely sorry, delta G by delta G. That means what should be our reference? What should be our reference energy? Is that enthalpy or Gibbs free energy? If a mechanical engineer, they do, and if a person who is going to compare with the conventional IC engine, they will be always taking delta H, because they will be telling that yes, for me the energy what we are talking about is the combustion and H. But if you go to an electrochemical, let's say chemical person, so he will be telling, or she will be telling, for me it is delta G by delta H, so that's the efficiency, right? But conventionally we'll be telling this one, because keeping the market in the, if system this efficiency and then calculate. So how will you be doing calculation? This calculation, so let us take an example. H2 plus half O2 is going to H2O. And then you will be knowing the enthalpy change in case of hydrogen. You can do also for this in case of oxygen, and you can do also for water. And if you do this calculation, you'll be doing this. Just a minute, I'm just you'll be doing this using that delta H for H2, delta H for O2, and delta H for H2O. And considering all of them, you'll be able to get the net delta H for the system. Similarly, you can find out the delta S for H2, delta S for O2, delta S for H2O. And then you can find out always net delta H is equal to delta H product. In this case, it will be water minus delta H H2 plus half O2. Similarly, you will be able to calculate T delta S. So you know the operating temperature into delta S is, how do we calculating delta S? Is that delta S H2O minus delta S H2 plus half O2. And this particular value of all this S you will be getting from the literature and you can use it. And if we do this calculation, ultimately we'll be going to get an enthalpy value of delta H. Let's say for this reaction where we are talking about H2 plus half O2 is equal to H2O is going to be 286 kilojoule per mole. So this is the enthalpy you have calculated. But if you want to calculate the Gibbs free energy, then you have to also use the TDS delta S term, and then TDS term is calculated. Just I'm trying to find out that if I get some data. I'm not getting at this point of that data value, but I'll be sharing with you maybe sometimes some problems that time I'll be giving. So if you give that, you'll be getting in the range of 30. And this is now what you see in case of combustion, this is negative. Okay, this is very important. This is negative. So if you take H2 plus O2 is equal to H2, you will be getting minus 237 kilojoule per mole. And so that means you can see that this is delta H minus T delta S. This is what you are going to get here. Okay, you have 237 kilojoule per mole. So this is the Gibbs free energy what you can get. But earlier, as I was telling, you will not be able to know until unless, because this is the energy what you are giving as a fuel. But how the reaction is happening, how do you know? So that is given by voltage. So you want to calculate the voltage at the interface, and that voltage is given by minus delta G by NF. What is this NF? NF is that if you take this delta G already you know is the Gibbs free energy, and if you write this equation H2 plus half O2 is equal to H2O, how many electrons are actually participating in this reaction? Already I have written earlier, if you write this H2 is equal to H plus 2 electron, and O2 will be giving similar, so you can see 2 electrons, and then O2 plus 2 electrons plus 2H plus is going to give you H2O. So that means you can see now 2 electrons are involved, so N is equal to 2 here, because 2 electrons means how much charge? So that means 2 into 1 mole of electron, this is mole, right? And 1 mole of electron is 96485 coulomb, right? So that is what we call it is the Faraday constant. So F is a, what is Faraday constant? Faraday constant talks about the, so Faraday constant will be talking about you the how much energy available. How do you calculate that Faraday constant? So Faraday constant is the total charge of 1 mole electron. So 1 mole electron means, let's see, if you take an Avogadro number of electron into the charge of electron. What is Avogadro number? Is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23, and electron charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, and this is 6.023. This is per mole. So per mole the number of electrons. Okay, and if you multiply these two, you'll be getting approximately 96485. If you multiply and you get coulomb per mole, right? So this is a Faraday constant. Now if you multiply by total number of moles, here it is 2, then you are getting total charge, Coulomb, right? So this is total charge what you are going to get. So that means N into F charge combustion, let's say hydrogen and oxygen is mixing, then how much charge is getting transferred from one side to other side, then hydrogen is getting oxidized as well as oxygen is getting reduced. You can get from this that what is the number of moles of your electron. So now number of moles of electron is 2 here, what we can see, and it is half of your hydrogen. So that means in this case number of electron is half of your fuel, hydrogen, right? So now you know how much hydrogen you have given in, let's say, volume. From that always you know that how much mole of hydrogen you have given. So you know how much mole of electron is being produced, double. Okay. And if you know this thing N, then you know Faraday constant, you can get the total charge. So now you know already that you have given how much energy gives free energy. This is an energy. And if you divide by the charge, that's what I was telling earlier, charge, and this is energy. So energy by charge is actually voltage. What we talk voltage is nothing but energy by charge. That means total how much energy that you know from your table, thermodynamic table you can get, and charge, it is very difficult to find out the charge, how much charge is actually getting. Let's say you are giving hydrogen here and reaction is happening and then some charge transfer is happening. How much charge you cannot do. But what you can do, you can always calculate energy per unit charge is a voltage if you are measuring a voltage at the interface. So that means now what you get, that voltage is an signature of an interfacial phenomena that is happening and then that reaction is happening. So instead of knowing how much energy you are giving, knowing how much charge is going directly, you can get the voltage. And we are interested in the voltage because for power only voltage is required, not charge and other thing. And how much charge is going, we'll be doing separately by current, right? Because what is current? Current is equal to by time. Separately. So instead, then from that we can do, now we'll be multiplying voltage and current and we'll be getting the energy also right there, right? So that's what is being done. So in case of fuel cell, the voltage what we are going to get, V, will not be telling V, voltage is the unit, we'll be telling potential. So E is given by minus delta G by NF. Now N is constant, F is constant. However, delta G also depends on your temperature and pressure, right? Earlier we are taking as a particular temperature. So very important thing, because if you change your temperature, your enthalpy of your system changes. Like let's say at a particular temperature you have H 0 at 25, let's say, then another temperature you'll be getting H plus Cp delta T, right? That's what the enthalpy changes. As enthalpy changes, everything changes also. So we need to define a particular temperature and pressure, and we'll be telling as a standard condition. Let's say 25 degrees centigrade as well as 1 atmospheric pressure or 1 molar concentration. This will be considering as a standard condition. And then whenever we are doing reaction, we will be always maintaining that. And that time we'll be defining this as E naught is equal to minus delta G naught. So naught means it is actually at standard condition, and by NF is, and this is known as standard electrode potential. Okay, so this is standard electrode potential. After you get the standard electrode potential, So as I told that you have to take temperature and pressure and concentration. These are three important things. Now it is impossible for us to be always stick to that temperature is equal to 298 Kelvin, 12315 Kelvin, or it will be also sometimes not possible to have 1 atmospheric pressure or 1 molar concentration. If you deviate from that, in that case, you'll be also having some problem and you'll be having also some changes in E naught. Actually, by what we are writing right as 298 and 1 atmospheric, right? This is what we are talking about. And why we are telling atmospheric? Because now keep it in mind that we are taking only gaseous. We are not taking any concentration like you are taking some chemicals. Okay, as we are taking pure hydrogen, oxygen type of thing, it's concentration. So and that time this one will be telling also T and P, right? Let's say now we are doing at a constant atmospheric pressure. That time we can tell T also. So now if we write this particular thing, and we'll be finding lots of books they write this one, E is equal to E naught minus T dls. This is not right. Okay, this is not right. So you have to do something else along with this. That's what I'll be writing here. So we also sometimes write that this TP also we write as a nonce potential. So initially E naught is standard electrode potential, and En is nonce potential. What is this nonce potential? Because nonce only told that what happens if you are changing from your this thing, if you are deviating from your standard temperature and pressure. So now what we'll be trying to do, first we'll try to see what will be the change in the, if you do the change in the temperature. If you do a change in the temperature, but you are not doing change in the pressure, so pressure is, let's say, 1 atmosphere. In that case, it is E naught into minus 1 by NF T minus 298 into delta Cp. What is delta Cp? Delta Cp is the change in the potential, change in the concentration. Like delta Cp is, let me write down, then I'll tell delta Cp. What is delta Cp? So delta Cp minus delta S naught minus T delta Cp ln T by 298. Let's say 298 now for timing of 298, because earlier I was writing 298.15. Just for simplicity, I am not writing that one. So this is that what you are going to get. So this is E naught, what you are seeing. So there is some correction factor if you are deviating from the temperature. Now if you are also trying to deviate from temperature and also pressure to a generalized pressure, and this thing we call it as a nonce, because nonce potential is that if you are deviating from temperature as well as pressure, then it's a generalized thing, and it looks like E naught minus, sorry, this is E T, what I have told earlier, minus RT by NF ln, we call it Q, and Q is known as thermodynamic quotient. Q is thermodynamic quotient. Okay, this is thermodynamic quotient. And here other thing what I was telling earlier, delta Cp is nothing but delta C sum of your product minus sum of C, sorry, not delta C, sum of C of your reactant. So this is what we call as a delta Cp. So in this case, what will be happening? Cp of product is H2O minus Cp of H2 minus half Cp of O2. This is what we can talk about delta Cp, and then you can calculate that one. Now quotient, if you go for ln Q, so that is given by let me write it in very simple way. I'm not going in more complicated one. So it is given by Q is equal to pressure of hydrogen to the power X. What is this X? Why I am writing H2? Let me write in general. X H2 plus Y O2 is giving me Z H2O. In our case, we know this is 1, this is 0.5, this is 1. So in general, P hydrogen X O2 P O2 Y divided by P H2O Z. In this case, so it becomes P H2, that means the pressure of hydrogen, into P O2 half divided by P H2O, like this. So this is the value of Q. So ultimately, if you try to write the same equation, En becomes minus RT by NF ln Q, means P hydrogen P oxygen to the power half PH2O. And what is ET? You'll be finding most of the books they write En is equal to E naught minus RT by NF ln this one. But this is not right. This has to be ET, where ET is equal to, already I have written earlier. Again, I am rewriting ET. What I am writing is equal to, given by E naught. That is, what is E naught? E naught is given by minus delta G naught by NF. That is E naught minus, now you need to do 1 by NF. Then T minus T reference. This is our 298. Because standard is 298, right? So this is T98 into, let's say, into delta Cp for the reaction minus delta S naught for the reaction, and minus T delta Cp ln T by T reference. This is ET. Okay, this is ET. So, and you know ET, and then after that you can, so this is what you can calculate. How do you calculate ET? Now, if you take the example for fuel cell and hydrogen oxygen, so we have seen that delta G naught will be going by delta G naught, and it is given by minus 237 kilojoule per mole. Hello. I'm meeting you. Yeah, so 237 kilojoule per mole. And what is the value of N for that reaction? N is equal to 2, already have told. What is the value of F? F is equal to 96485. And if you do this and try to find out what will be the standard electrode potential, E naught is equal to minus 237 minus plus and 2 into 2,964,885, and this will be giving you, and this is volt now, okay, and this is going to give you 1.23 volt. So this is, we call it open circuit voltage, open circuit potential, open circuit OCP. And so if you are going to change this reaction from hydrogen oxygen to something else, this is also going to change. So what we understand from here, that in the thermodynamics, and this is at a particular temperature and pressure. If you change this temperature and pressure, also this is going to change. So it is going to depend, number one, with the reactions or reactants, not reactions, are also reactants. Number two, it depends on temperature, operating temperature, better to say. Also, it is depends on pressure. Let's say these are the main things on which your open circuit voltage is going to vary. So these are the main parameters, and if you change the reaction, it's going to change. Now after this, we do not have anything. Now only what we can do, we can plot here, and I can show you. Let's say here I'm trying to plot energy. Here I'm going to plot as, like here I can plot delta G naught, I can plot delta H naught. Let's say then I can plot delta GT, I can plot delta, sorry, this is delta Gn, this is delta G0, like that we can plot. Also you can plot here E naught equivalent, ET equivalent, En, sorry, opposite, En, E naught, like that we can do. And this is from here till here is nothing. This is divided by NF. That's all. So this is a conversion. You can see that you are talking energy or voltage is same. Only you are multiplying or divide by the charge. And but it is easy to always measure voltage for our appliances. So we measure voltage. So that's what we are converting. And then this one, when you are talking about this, you are at standard condition. This one is that only you are changing the temperature. From here till here, you are changing from temperature as well as the pressure. So this is a generalized temperature, generalized pressure. This is what is going to happen in real practice. So I'll stop here with the thermodynamics of fuel cell, where you have seen that the open circuit voltage of a fuel cell you can get in the range of, now I'm taking an 1 volt, and it is very less. So you need to connect them in series to get a desired level of voltage, let's say 20 volt, 40 volt, 300 volts. So you have to connect them in series, and that's what we will be talking. Probably Amit will be talking about the system, that why it is being connected in the stack. And the next one we'll be talking about the current, and that how we'll be getting current, and then we'll be talking about the power, because ultimately you are interested in power. So I'm stopping here, and I'll be happy to answer your question if you have any questions. So you can also introduce yourself a little bit, so it will be easier for me to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for the wonderful lecture. It was quite intensive. I quite remember going back in the past, trying to understand fuel cell back when I was attending your fuel cell courses. The session is open for questions. We will have few quick questions if you have any, and then we'll try to wind up. You can still can ask questions in the second session, which is also will be conducted by Professor Ghosh, which will start at 2:30 today at like post lunch. So if you have any questions, he'll be happy to answer.
I think there, I can see one hand raised. I think is it by mistake?
Murgapur Pathi sir would like to ask any question?
Okay, I think Amit, if there is no question, maybe you can wind up.
Hello?
Okay, because I was just closing because I thought that we should keep some question answer session, but might be after the second lecture we can also have that same question answer.
Hello?
Right, sir. Someone would like to ask question, it seems. Mr. Patil? Patil, sir?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
someone, please go ahead.
It means it depends upon Faraday's law of electrolysis. All electrochemistry you should know.
Could you kindly repeat your question again?
For thermodynamic properties of a fuel cell, we should know electrochemistry means Faraday law of electrolysis, F, Z, I equal to ZQT, Z electrochemical equivalent, etc. Am I correct?
Yes, you need to know because that is not electrochemistry is different. This is not electrochemistry. It is a simple reaction. Even if you are writing this is a combustion reaction. When I'm writing hydrogen plus oxygen, hydrogen plus half oxygen is water is a combustion reaction. And any combustion reaction, you will be knowing that okay, how many electrons is actually taking place, taking part. Okay, so this is the now in next lecture it will be a part of electrochemistry which is going to come in next lecture. But till now it was not that much electrochemistry.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay.
This is only the number you always know. Let's say if you have an oxygen, you can always multiply by 4 with the oxygen mole. Okay, in the reaction. Okay, combustion reaction. So that is the number of electrons. And Faraday constant is a constant. It's not related to electrochemistry. It's anywhere
Equivalent.
equivalent. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I think we'll break for lunch and then we'll resume the next session at 2:30 today.
Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, very much. Thank you, everyone. We'll break for lunch now.
Thank you.